So when a library sends you a contract, a lot of producers, especially if they're brand new to the licensing business, the question will come up is this fair? Is this acceptable? Are these terms in this contract acceptable? And we get these posts a lot in Sync Academy. And one post recently that came up that really sort of sparked the idea to put this video together was that this producer was saying, well, we're going to be splitting. Basically, they keep the publishers, I keep the writers. I think the sync fee was split 50-50, but there's no consideration fees. It's an exclusive agreement. They want perpetuity. They want the music to be in there forever. No reversion clause. I've tried to ask for that. They will not give it back to me. And so the question was posted to the community, which was that, are these terms acceptable? And, it's a really great question to ask, and you should be thinking about these kind of things, but there is no such thing as a universal objective set of contract terms that are acceptable to all producers, right? So I don't know exactly your particular, your goals, your strategies, your preferences, what you're willing to give up, what you're not willing to give up. How many libraries are you working with? Do you work with multiple libraries that one has a reversion clause, the other ones don't? There's so many considerations and so many variables that there's no such thing as, well, as long as it has these things, then you know that you're in a good position. You know that this library is going to deliver for you, or these are fair terms or something like that, okay? So I know this might contradict some of the things that I've said before, where I said that basically one of the sort of, guarantees or minimums that I want to see in a licensing contract with a library is for me to keep 100% of my writer share. And I still think that that's probably one of the 90% of the time something that I would never budge on. I would never accept something that's less than that. However, there could be a situation, right, where you work with a library. They say, yeah, we do need you to work with this other producer or this other vocalist. We think your music is awesome, but we think their vocals are great. And we need you to split your writer share with this vocalist. So they're going to get on your track, and we're going to pitch your music to a sports network or to a TV show or to reality or to a commercial or something like that. And we basically have a really almost sure thing guaranteed in to get you tons and tons of placements. So you'd be walking into that situation, giving up half of your writer share, but also getting a guarantee that your tracks are going to get placed all over the place and you're going to see tons and tons of placements. Are those terms acceptable? I don't know. I can't answer that for you, right? So that's one of those things where it breaks one of my kind of rules, if you want to call it that. One of my minimum things that I look for is to keep my writer share. But if it's a guarantee towards getting placements and I have to take a little bit of a cut on that, I might do it, right? Because if I feel like this is going to be taking 50% of a watermelon rather than saying, no, I want to keep 100% of my music, so I keep 100% of a raisin. What do I really want? Is it really important for me to keep 100% of my music, or is it more important for me to get 50% of this large chunk of new, potentially passive income that could last me years or decades into the future? So you got to sort of take a wider view of this stuff and not get so narrow-minded on it and only think about, well, the terms say this, therefore I will not do it. So you have to kind of think about this stuff for yourselves. And unfortunately, hopefully, within the knowledge that I'm giving you guys and sort of the insights I'm giving you, you have some sort of ability to think about it in a more intelligent way and not just sort of looking at numbers and well, it's 50% there, so therefore I will say no to this kind of thing. Or there's no reversion clause, so therefore I will never work with a company that won't allow me to take my music back out if it doesn't get placed, right? So it's kind of like black and white thinking in terms of you're looking just for sort of a checklist in the contract, and if it doesn't have those check marks that you have, you just always say no. I think that kind of thinking can sometimes have you miss out on really, really big opportunities. Ideally, it would be great if every library you worked with offered you consideration fees, offered you at least 50% of the sync fees, let you keep all of your writer share, and maybe even dipped a little bit of the publisher share. These would be great things if every library did this. But we're here on planet Earth where not everybody does it that way. There are different libraries with different business models set up so that they can stay profitable. I think a lot of producers also forget that we're always thinking about ourselves, of course. Every human being is, right? We're always thinking about how much money can I make, and what are my placements going to look like, and what are they going to do for me? But you got to remember, without that library right there serving all these clients, how are you getting to all these placement opportunities? You're not, right? We're just not doing that. We're not sending our music out to hundreds and hundreds of clients every single week and maybe hiring a salesperson to try to push our music. We're not doing that. We get the luxury of being able to partner with a library so that they can take care of all that stuff. and we can just focus on making high quality music, right? Which is a privilege. It's an awesome gift. It's an awesome blessing to be able to do this, right? But that means that a library's got to stay in business, right? They got to make money. They've got bills to pay. They've got families to feed. They've got mortgages to pay as well, right? So whatever terms they usually offer you in a contract are not there to screw you over. They're not there to take advantage of you, right? They're there usually so that they can remain in business, so they can continuously keep providing for us. I mean, also their clients, they're sort of serving two different clients, the TV film clients and us, the composers. But usually their business models are set up so that they can stay profitable, they can stay in business, and they can stay healthy enough to be able to keep offering you and me these kinds of really cool opportunities. So keep that in mind as well when you're getting offered a contract. I think too many of us tend to see contract terms that are maybe not our ideal ones and think, well, they're just screwing me over and I'm not working with them. So remember, there could be other explanations as to why the terms are what they are. And I hope that you sort of think about what's right for you. Sometimes in your gut, something will feel wrong and you'll say, these terms aren't the greatest. And I also don't know if this library is the best fit for me and my music. Therefore, I'm going to pass. I would say that's an intelligent time to say no. That would be the right way to say no to a contract. However, right opportunity, right library, I should say, your music seems like it's a great fit for them. You're getting great communication from them. They're giving you a lot of indications that they feel like they can give you a lot of placements with your music. The terms are not your ideal terms. Is that worth saying no to? Again, I'm not going to tell you yes or no, but I just want you to, I'm trying to push back against sort of the knee-jerk reaction of like, well, this isn't the minimum of what I need, therefore I'm out. Or they don't, one thing is, I've heard some producers say, I will never work with a library that does not give me consideration fees. You got to realize that in the long scope of your career, consideration fees are about that big and royalties are about that big. If you're going to stick with this long term, right? We're talking 5, 10, 20 years of your life. So your consideration fees, which were paying your grocery bills essentially, versus what's going to be paying all of your bills and your retirement and savings and vacations and everything else, right? So you're saying no because you're not getting this little chunk in the beginning. Again, what's important to you? Is getting that little chunk of money that important right now that you need that? I mean, some people maybe yes, because even just a little chunk of money could get you out of your day job, right? So I've said this is one strategy where you work with a library that maybe gives you a couple $100 per track, which is out there. You put out like an album or two, maybe one album per month. That might give you enough income to kind of pay a good chunk of your bills so you can actually go a little more part-time with your full-time job, right? Or you can start to independent contract. So maybe a little bit of consideration fees for the first year or two of this business gets you in a position where you can really focus more on building up your catalog for those royalties later on, right? If that's your strategy, okay, then definitely you want to go for only those libraries that give you consideration fees. However, if you're in a position where you're in this for the long haul and you've got enough free time in the week that you can continuously, alongside your day job, make music and create a catalog, and so you don't necessarily need any upfront money right now and you're really more focused on the long-term passive income, then that shouldn't probably be a deal breaker for you if they're not offering consideration fees, because that wasn't what you were in this for anyways. You were in for the placements for the long-term passive income. So again, there's so many variables. I couldn't put them all into one video, but I do want to at least start pushing against this kind of stuff and to get you guys to start thinking about this a little bit more critically and not so in kind of a black and white. It's either got to have these, terms or they're not, or I'm not signing it, that kind of thing, right? So I hope this was clear enough for you guys. If you have any further questions about contracts, about good terms, bad terms, interpreting them, strategies, go ahead and comment below, because I know that like talking more about contracts and the terms is probably a subject I could go a lot more in depth with. I just don't know where to go with it because there's so many moving parts to it. There's so many moving variables. But definitely comment below. I'd love to hear any questions or concerns you guys have. I'll try to help as best I can.